Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Enthador. I'm Marcus Aurelius, and this is Dwarf Fortress version 0.43, and we are the Fortress of Lost Knowledge. And in this episode, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show you the secret plans of Lost Knowledge. They haven't all been completed yet. I haven't designed everything, but I've done quite a bit, and I want to give you a look at it. In terms of gameplay, we're at the same moment we ended the last episode. No actual gameplay has taken place, and I hope in this episode we can actually dig out some area and potentially locate the caverns, because the one thing that could screw up all of my best laid plans are having the caverns kind of break into what I've designed. Now, I initially was going to go from the top where we are right now and just go Z level by Z level down to show you everything, but I feel that gave a really bad impression of the fortress because it's so vertical. I've got a lot of areas that are multiple stories high that I think it's better if we start from the ground floor, which I didn't memorize exactly how many Z levels it is below the surface, but it's something like 15 to 20. It's pretty deep. But you remember our entry, and I'll show you that real quick before we go to the ground floor. So you enter here on the surface, then you go down this long tunnel, and then you get to here. This is where currently everything's happening. This is the only part of the fortress we've dug out yet. But eventually this is going to be the entrance, where we're going to have little hallways here for Mark's dwarves, and this entire hallway is going to be delved out, channeled out, so it's 2 Z levels high. Then here, we're going to have all of our ballista, and this is going to be the actual tunnel floor, where enemies, friends, whomever visits the fortress is going to start here and walk this way. But because the ballista operators get scared and flee when they get too close to enemies, there's got to be a point here where we channel out another floor down, and our ballistas can keep firing, but our enemies can't get closer to them. So I've done that as well. So this is, if you can think of it in 3D, the entrance, they run this way, and then they kind of go down here under the fortifications with which the ballista are shooting till they get to here. Now that's as far as I'm going to go from the top down, because I want to take you now to the ground floor of the fortress, what I've designed. So this is the ground floor, and as you can see, it's quite elaborate. Now I planned it all out, that's why it's blue. I didn't actually designate this area to be dug out. It's using the marker function, except for the circles, because the circles are designed using DF hack, and it is not complicated enough to allow you to use the marker only. Some of the circles I took the time to color over, but that was super annoying, and I left these kind of alone. But this is, right now, what exists in Lost Knowledge. This is the ground floor, the main floor. Not everything has been designed yet, but I think it'll give you a pretty good idea of how I'm choosing to utilize space. And I want this to be my most epic and largest fortress ever. So this here will be the trader entrance. Trader with a D, merchants. So as they follow the hallway, they reach an antechamber, which I'll show you in a little bit, and they come down here. I'm going to also have another entrance for enemies. So the one thing I have not yet designed is the military quarter of the city, which will be up here. This, however, is the industrial quarter. This is the great library. This is the treasure room. This is the dining hall and kitchens. And this is the hall of history. And I'll go over all of them. So the first antechamber that the merchants come in will be our trading room. And in the middle of here will be our trade depot, and all of our goods ready to trade will be around. I'm not going to be using any quantum stockpiles in this fortress. We're going to really take advantage of space, and we're going to have everything laid out. To the south here will be where the trade goods are basically improved to be good for trading. So we're going to have cut gems, and we're going to have regular trade goods, and we're going to have them encrusted, and once that's done, they're going to move here. Now these three, not this one, but these three are actually 2 stories tall, because I'm utilizing the vertical space to maximize my workstations. These rooms here, here, and here will also be workstations, although I haven't determined yet what industries will be in each one. These 2 rooms here and here will be for the bookkeeper and the mayor. Now the mayor, of course, demands a lot more luxury. We're not going to do that by the size of the room. We're going to do that by the furniture. So we're going to have much nicer and more expensive furniture in the mayor's office in order to keep him or her happy. Now, as you get here into this main antechamber here, we have, as you can see here, 2 ramps leading upward. You might not be able to see it because I have it reduced in size, but just trust me, these are 2 ramps leading upward or a dwarf can go straight into the dining hall. This is the ground floor of the dining hall, but as you'll see, it's a dome, so it goes up multiple Z levels. Over here is our Hall of History. There are enough pillars to be engraved for 40 years of lost knowledge. And these little alcoves around, I've added this. I've decided that we're going to do a statue for every legendary dwarf. And they're going to get better as time goes on, because obviously the first ones are going to be stone, but then we're going to transition to metal once we find metal and have a lot of it. And eventually we're going to hopefully have all this filled with statues of all of our legendary dwarves. This here will be our vault, where we're going to store all of our artifacts that our dwarves design. And maybe we can expand it later to also have like riches, like coins or gold bars or whatnot. And this here is the ground floor of our cistern. So it's like the bottom of our cistern where we're going to have our fresh water. As you can see here, right now it's open, but that's not always going to be the case. We're going to wall this out. I just want to make it right now so that our dwarves can get in to dig it out. You'll see what I have planned. So this is the Great Library. And I have to kind of explain it because you have to really think about it in 3D. But here's the entrance, and this room here, and this room here are going to be the stacks. Which, if you don't understand libraries, this is going to be where the books are, like the bookcases. There will also be books in these 4 little towers, but they're almost separate. They're like, think of them as like little special libraries of particular subjects. I mean, we can't get that deep in the actual gameplay, but that's what you can think of it as. This entranceway here is actually going to be, as the doors walk in, they can look up and see multiple Z levels. And let me show you that as I move up a Z level. So all this is going to be channeled out. So a dwarf anywhere in the library in this portion right there could look up to multiple Z levels. Now, as you can see here, there's cool little walkways. So these 4 towers are going to be 1 story each. So they're not tall. There's going to be a room on each floor. So there's going to be staircases here that lead up to the top room, and there's going to be more books here. But the way to walk between one tower to another are these walkways that are going to be held up above. So a dwarf who's walking here can look down into the stacks, look down into the area of the rest of the library. But then if you go up 1 more Z level, you have little reading rooms set up for the dwarves, and put little tables in there, and the dwarves can read books. And then the central dome of the library and the entranceway is actually going to be 3 Z levels high. So as a dwarf walks in to the library here, they can look up 3 Z levels all the way through here. And then this area here, of course, will be 2 Z levels, although I could make this 3 Z levels too, now that I think about it. But so if you think about it in 3D, the dwarves come in here, they can walk up here or up here to the next Z level to go to these little towers. They could walk up here and walk around. So if a dwarf is standing right here, that dwarf can look down into other dwarves reading books or hanging out in the library. So I thought that was really cool. That's my great library design. Hopefully it'll work out in actual gameplay. As you can see how the dining hall works, the only action, so to speak, in the dining hall is going to be on the ground floor. That's where all the tables and whatnot is going to be. But the dwarf who's sitting in there can look up 4 Z levels to this giant dome. So this is kind of our waterworks, and I will explain this to you in more detail as I can zoom in. But first I want to show you the bedroom layer. So this is the bedroom layer. We've got the top of the dining hall dome. We've got the 6 bedrooms for our starting 6 dwarves, and then the mayor's bedroom for the 7th, dining room and bedroom. Then we have regular housing for regular dwarves, and this room right here is going to be our well room. As you can see, the cistern is 3 stories high. So we should probably put the hospital around here somewhere so they have access to the fresh water. That's really important. I noticed that Jurist Fathog unfortunately came to the fortress with an infected toe, probably by traveling through the swamps to get here. And this, as you can see, is the main entrance. So where we had our initial entrance tunnel, it ends up here, where enemies are going to have to go up here and fight through a gauntlet, but merchants can come down here, and that's how they get into the fortress. So let's focus on the water situation, because as you might know, the ocean is full of salt water, and dwarves cannot drink salt water. It is not good for healing dwarven wounds. It's generally not good for anything. So how are we going to deal with that? Well, luckily for us, a dwarven pump also acts as a dwarven desalinator. So you can create fresh water by taking salt water and pumping it. So I've got a system in place here that's multi-dimensional, very vertical, so you're going to have to wrap your mind around it, but here's how it's going to work. This is the access tunnel. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a dwarf dig this out right here. And remember, this is the bottom of the ocean. So there's going to be a ton of water pressure. So you're thinking, Marcus, how are you going to do that without killing that dwarf? Well, I'm going to have a floodgate right here and a door or something here because water can't pass through a locked door. But my plan is I'm going to channel this out, and after the floodgate, there's going to be some grates that the dwarf can walk over, but the water is going to fall down. The water is then going to fall down here. It's going to roll all the way to here, but it's going to have enough water pressure to push it up this upward ramp back to here, or back to here. Now, why am I doing that? Well, because there might be sea monsters. This is an evil ocean, and a sea monster can probably break a floodgate and certainly a door. So I'm going to put a hatch here, because one thing monsters can't do is they can't break a hatch from the bottom. So as kind of a last fail-safe oh shit measure, if a sea monster gets in, breaks the floodgate, then we'll have this hatch here ready to protect it. And you might be thinking, well, Marcus, they could probably break through the grate here, but we're going to have a wall here. Once this is all clear and the system works, we're going to wall this off, make it safe. So the water gets pumped up here just by its water pressure, comes here, and then falls down again till it goes to here. And then it falls down again till it goes to here. And then, as you can see here, it loses its water pressure by going through these diagonal movements here, because water loses all of its pressure in this game when it goes diagonal. Otherwise, this whole system would fall apart. And then it goes here, where it will not rise above this Z level. This is where the water will stop. This will be walled off or floodgated off. This is just a service hatch for the digger. So we're going to have a pump here. The pump is going to take the water from the Z level below, desalinate it, and then push it here. All this is going to be walled or floodgated off. This is, again, just service hatches to build and service the pump. However, this is going to have to be a door, because the pump is not going to be done by electricity like our pump in Forest Home. It's actually going to be dwarven powered, because we're only going to need it part of the time. We're not going to have it full time. So we have to make it so the dwarf can get here and pump the pump without getting drowned, of course. This is where the water goes. I put this down here where I'm going to put a floodgate at the end of it. And the purpose for this is I might determine later that there's more things I want to do with the water. So this will allow me to let the water go here, stop by the floodgate, and I could then later on dig more tunnels and whatever elaborate water system I want later without flooding my fortress. And then once it's all dug out and ready to go, I can just open the floodgate and boom, the water goes into whatever it is I do. But for right now, we just have the cistern. So the water comes over here and it falls into the cistern. Fresh, clean, drinkable water. And of course, like I said, we're going to wall this up. And there we go. So we have a cistern full of water for our dwarves to drink. And there's so many areas here where this can get screwed up, but we're hoping for the best. I'm using my knowledge of dwarven fluid mechanics to hopefully make this work. And of course, safety. We may still lose the dwarf who digs out the initial wall, but we'll see. I'm hoping that I've got it planned out pretty well. So I can give you a close-up of the library too. So here's the top floor. You've got the 3 reading rooms with the downward staircases. You've got this open air area that's going to be channeled out. Floor 2, you've got the 4 mini libraries with the walkways that lead between them. You've got all this channeled out. And then ground floor, you've got the stacks and the entrance and the little dome in the middle. So that, for right now, is the plan. There's a couple things we still need, however. Down here, we're probably going to need to build a, a temple, right. We need an amazing temple for our dwarves to worship at, so we can continue this hallway down here and maybe build a temple over here. Or we could build the temple perhaps up here, but again, this is more area I want to devote to military. I'm not sure how much space that's going to take, but I want to have all of our barracks. I want to have the military ability, our storage of weapons and armor, things of that nature. And of course, we may have to expand our industry at some point too. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 two-story rooms, so that'll encompass 4 workshops each. Well, 4 workshops in each of these 3, since this is going to be the trading room. And then we can put workshops here, 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 and here. So I don't know, it might be enough, but we might need more. And of course, we just need general storage for things like furniture and whatnot. So these rooms, like I can dig out second stories to all these rooms and use them as storage. But let's talk about how the dwarves get to the bedrooms. So they come in through the main hall. Instead of deciding to go to eat, they instead want to go to their bedroom. So they go up these upward ramps, which take them up to here. Then they go up another upward ramp, which takes them up to here. Oh, sorry, I went down again. And then they will go up another upward ramp, which takes them up to here. And the reason why I'm making it so vertical is because that gives me plenty of room to do all my waterworks and maintenance stuff. And then they get to the main bedroom area. But I recognize I'm going to need more space, so I have a downward ramp here and a downward ramp here. Bear in mind, these are the 2 that go to the area by the dining hall, but these 2 are going to go down to the floor below, where we're going to have more housing. So it's kind of roundabout. They're not going to go directly from here to their housing. They're going to go up and then down again. But again, that's a way for me to keep the housing separate from the industrial quarter and make things less complicated. I say less complicated, but... So that's that. I hope you really like it. We still got more to do. We still have more designs to make. But I think now's a good time to get started, to actually have things kind of move along. So essentially what I want to do in this episode is I want to dig out this area for our Marks dwarves. In fact, I need to dig a little entryway so they can get in there. I'm going to wall that up again. And I want to move all of this stuff down somewhere else so that I can start channeling this out and making our area secure. Because right now we're basically being protected by a door, which won't stop everything. Now this staircase is not going to be used actually in the fortress, but I'm using it right now to try to find the cavern lair. And I'm going to continue to do that because we haven't found crap yet. And so let's do D I up downstairs. And okay, that's the corner. So let's go down another 5 Z levels to see what's going on down there. Meanwhile, I have to determine what area I want to dig out here. I gotta store all this stuff. Where am I gonna store it? So for right now, I'm gonna dig. This really sucks actually, because I'm gonna have to dig this out to give dwarves access to the main fortress to start digging it out. But I really wanted this whole thing to be engraved. And with this dug out, I'm not gonna be able to engrave it obviously because I'm gonna have to build a wall there. So maybe I'll put like a really nice gold statue here or something. I'm not sure what. But it is what it is. So we'll dig this out so that our dwarves could actually start digging this out, which means that I'm going to have to actually change it from marker only to real, which I can do. And you'll notice they're digging this out before they're digging the tunnel that leads to it. And that's because we can't start digging the tunnel until we've channeled out that whole level. And we can't channel out that level until we store our stuff somewhere else. And we can't store our stuff somewhere else until we have a place to store it. So that's the choices you always have to make when playing Dwarf Fortress, is you have to give up aesthetic beauty for practicality. So we're taking away the chance that I can engrave this wall, and we're creating this useless staircase that's going to always exist but not actually be part of the fortress, just so we can store stuff and make the rest of it work. It is what it is. So we're going to dig all this out. We are not going to start digging downward yet, though. So this is enough for right now. All right, cool. So let's let them get started on that. Oh, you know, one thing I do want to do, though, is I set Akis as unassigned, but I am going to give him mining. I don't know, for example, though, if he actually has mining gear. So let's take a look here. There's a couple things I want to check, actually. I want to check if Akis has mining gear. So that's inventory. He does have an iron pick. Okay, so he can go straight to digging. That's great. So that gives me hope that Jurist Fat Hog has his weaponry as well, but we're going to have to see. Okay, we got a robe, dress, a cloak, leather cap. repulsive goo covering all over his body. Wow, lots of repulsive goo. Just completely covered with repulsive goo. But no weapon. So Jurist Fathog, the legendary Hammer Dwarf, decided to come to Forest Home without his hammer or any of his armor, which he was wearing initially. That is a damn shame. Oh shoot, we forgot to profile a dwarf too. This will just have to be an extra long episode of 30 minutes. That's fine. I'm sure you guys will like that. So let's profile a dwarf. 355. 355 is Red Fairface, which is actually a great dwarf to profile because Red is our current militia captain or militia commander, and is the only dwarf who can actually fight right now because Jurist doesn't have a weapon, and we don't have the capacity to make warhammers right now. So, Red Fairface, let's find out more about you, sir. Red, as I said, have killed 1 crab, 1 giant hamster, 2 rat women, and 2 rat men. There's nothing like a good brawl. Well, perfect. I guess I chose the right person to be the militia commander. Within the last season, he was bored after having been unable to practice a craft for too long. He felt euphoric due to inebriation, annoyed after having a drink without using a goblet. Yes, I know, guys, I know. Resentful after getting into an argument. Annoyed after sleeping on a rough cave floor. He was satisfied at work, though. He was uneasy when caught in freakish weather. So, okay, so finally somebody's feeling the weather. He was afraid after experiencing trauma. He didn't feel anything after seeing a giant hamster die. Well, that's pretty sad, but he's probably killed a lot of giant hamsters. He didn't feel anything after seeing a rat man die. So apparently he's totally okay with murdering things. He's just not okay with sleeping on the ground and not having a mug. He is a worshiper of Langud. Let's see, he is 85 years old. He is thin and very muscular. His hair is somewhat greasy. His medium-length sideburns are neatly combed. His long mustache is arranged in double braids. His very long beard is arranged in double braids as well. His short hair is neatly combed, and his lips are very thick. He does have a scratchy voice, and his somewhat short ears are slightly flattened. But his dark peach skin is wrinkled, his hair is mahogany, with a touch of gray, and his eyes are copper. He is very strong and very slow to tire, but he is clumsy. I don't know if I want our militia commander to be clumsy, but we're going to do what we can. He likes dacite, platinum, tiger eye, black mamba bone, mail shirts, gloves, hatch covers, scepters, and the sound of the chant of queens. When possible, he prefers to consume black bullhead and longland beer. He absolutely detests leeches. He has an iron will, great creativity, and a great deal of patience. But he has meager kinesthetic sense, which is not good for a fighter, poor analytical abilities, and a questionable spatial sense, and an iffy memory. So, maybe he's not the absolute best person to be our militia commander, but you know what? No one is. It's the way life is. So let's dig this out. Once this is dug out, oh, it's raining repulsive goo again. Once this is dug out, we're going to have to smooth this and then carve fortifications into it. Hopefully we'll get some more flux out of the deal. In fact, I got to dig this as well. And then we'll have a little tunnel here that goes down to the military section, but I'm not going to do that just yet because our military section hasn't been dug out. But this is making me really nervous. I need to know where this cave system is. For those of you who are new to my series, who haven't watched the intro video to the Enthador series, I have to explain a little bit about my world. My world is kind of special. I make some changes to the basic world that the game creates. For one, I get rid of aquifers. I'm just not a fan of them. It's very challenging to get through them. Daz Tactic has done some videos on how to do it. And I guess for some people it's part of the experience, but for me it's just a hassle and I don't like it. So, what the hell are you? A stray baby llama? Who brought a stray baby llama to an undead spawning horrible... Well, we don't actually know if it spawns undead yet. We haven't actually seen any. But still, who brings a baby llama here? Come on. Any living creature that we don't need is a bad idea. And it looks like these guys keep bringing wood in. Is that what they're doing? Yeah, they're just kind of grabbing random wood. Alright. I forbid most of it. Oh, oops. I went too far. But I really need to find this cavern system here. Wait, no, I didn't go far. There we go. Alright, so we're digging this out. Now with the assistance of our new miner, we're making some progress. This is getting dug out perfectly. And still, well, we haven't actually started digging this yet, so we don't know about the cavern. But we might have just chosen the exact place where no cavern is. You know how the cavern kind of focuses on the middle of the squares. Oh, and I forgot to tell more about my world. So, okay, we got rid of aquifers, yes. But also, I made it so the caverns were generally a bit more open and less mazy than they are naturally. Because I personally think that they're more aesthetically pleasing when they're wide open caverns instead of crazy little mazes and pillars and just where you get lost and don't know what's going on. That's really it, though, in terms of changing the world. Oops, keep doing that. Alright, we struck blue jade. Alright. Lots of blue jade. Fantastic. If we survive long enough, this is going to look so good. Alright, let's channel this out. It's all 5, right? Yeah, wait. No, I'm sorry. Channel this out. Well, you know what, though? Shoot, I didn't think about this, but by channeling this out, we're not going to be able to smooth this rock. So we really should smooth the rock first. I don't even know if we have rock smoothers. I don't want to smooth everything, because that'll raise the value of my fort too much, but at least the stuff I won't be able to smooth otherwise. Yep, we have people who can do it. Here they come, and it's raining now. Regular rain, not repulsive goo. Still no caverns. Alright, good. That's been smooth, so we can now... Well, actually, now that I think about it, can we smooth this? Let's just do it. Just in case. And it's raining repulsive goo, in addition to actual water rain. Alright, we have way too many idlers. Way too many idlers, but there's not much that can be done. Let's just create a zone. Or not a zone, I'm sorry, a stockpile. One of our regular for everything stockpiles. And have the idle people start moving stuff down here. Okay, we're gonna remove this place though, because that's where the thing's gonna be. And that looks pretty solid. So let's go Q. Let's get max barrels, max bins. Let's change the status to allow everything. Enable, enable, not corpses and refuse, not stone. Ammo, coins, bars, gems, leather cloth. Well, not wood either for right now. But the problem is there is wood and stone up in the thing. Maybe we can just let it fall down. Armor and sheets. Alright, well, it'll now give the idlers something to do. Oh, actually it won't, because we have to first tell them not to. Okay, that's all wood there, isn't it? Shoot. So we're going to get rid of this stockpile. I guess we'll just do one at a time. So they should start moving stuff from that stockpile. Alright. Meanwhile, these guys can come in and dig this out. And still no cavern. Alright, let's try this again. 2, 3, 4, 5. We might just be missing the caverns. They could be all around us and we just haven't found them. I'm hoping that's not the case. Alright. Looks like our miners are going to do that first, which is fine with me. And it looks like our guys are moving stuff, which is also great. Actually, I think that's all they can move. You know what? I might just go ahead and include the wood. Yeah, they've moved pretty much everything. There's not enough room to store it all. I could just have this all channeled out anyway, and all this stuff will just fall down to the other level. What I have to do before that, though, before I channel this last piece out, I have to take this door off and make a wall here. Because no matter how long your drawbridge is, it only goes up 1 Z level. So if I have 2 Z levels of space, but the drawbridge, something could theoretically fly over it. Which doesn't leave us being very secure, does it? But that is a problem I'm going to have to solve in the next episode, because we are at 30 minutes, so I'm going to call this one an end. But I hope you like the plans for Lost Knowledge. I hope you like where things are going. I still have to design the military area, as I mentioned, and the Great Temple. That will come later, but right now I just want my dwarves to dig stuff out and move underground to safety. Safety is our #1 priority at this moment, even though technically the most dangerous thing we've seen right now is a horseshoe crab. Either way, let me know in the comments what you think. Once again, I'm Marcus Aurelius. This is Lost Knowledge Dwarf Fortress. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good one.